Welcome to my first in a series of drawing Doodie. So basically, what I'm doing is just working out ideas for potentially a cover. So this might not end up being the final product, but I'm just working out, flexing up some muscles so I can get a specific look and a feel. And in this one, I started fleshing it out already. Doodie being arrested by the one of the agents that's been after him, and I have a mic here so that way it's recording as we're going. So this is a detective that's worked for the government, sent out to pursue Doodie. So I am just coming up with a look for a potential cover. Anyway, so the detective is a big guy, not your average of the mill, normal detective. This guy is the best in his class, in a sense where he doesn't play by any rules. He is no nonsense. His primary goal is to go after the paranormal, any signs of alien life forms. And he's on the case to find out where this alien vessel crashed and what happened to the species that was on the actual spacecraft. So by the time you get to see the detective, I believe it's in issue 3 or 4 of This Alien in My Toilet. I'm currently working on issue 6. There are 5 issues already out. And what they did was they sent out special forces. They rounded up all of the animals in the woods where the ship landed and crashed. And everyone from the turtles to the squirrels and the wolves, woodpeckers, every animal that Doodie encountered during his crash landing on Earth. And for those of you who don't know anything about Doodie or haven't read the book, basically he's this egocentric, thinks he knows it all alien that was sent on a recon mission onto the planet Earth to determine if we're a threat to his homeworld, which is the planet Uranus. And at least he thinks that's what he was sent here. He was really sent away to get out of the hair of one of the commanders who unfortunately had to babysit Doodie because Doodie's father is their ruler of Uranus. And so Doodie's a nuisance. He gets himself into all sorts of trouble. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else. He obviously has an opportunity with making friends. And so this commander got this brilliant idea about sending him away. And so they send him on this recon mission. They gas him up. They make him believe they need him to solve this problem. And of course, Doodie's up for the challenge. And so he goes on this recon mission to Earth. And from the moment he crash lands, he finds himself just trying to survive Earth's simple creatures. As you can see, I'm just sketching and fleshing out and trying to come up with a look and feel. So, again, it might not end up being the cover. This might just be one of many looks that I'm going for. But what I'll do is with this today is I will also just darken it up. I'm going to keep fleshing it out until I get that look that I'm going for. So Doodie, after he gets through and survives the forest, he ends up into a home, a residential home of Alan Roberts and his son Bobby. And they have this Chihuahua named Herman. And Herman right now knows that there is this creature in the house who Herman believes is a talking jalapeno. And Herman's trying to get Doodie. And he's not very successful at it. And then Bobby, the son, gets wind and believes that he's seen an alien in the toilet. And that begins the drama at the home of the Roberts, and which trickles off into a gambling night when when Alan has his friends over, and Bobby is determined to prove that there's an alien in the house and the alien's in the toilet, and so he goes up and scoops up toilet water in a bucket, thinking he scooped up the alien, and he goes running to show it to his dad, Alan, and while his friends are over playing poker. Needless to say, it doesn't end well, and then Alan becomes the butt of jokes at work, and it trickles over to work, where Alan runs into this janitor in the bathroom who's a conspiracy theorist, and just becomes a domino effect. So Doodie is right here. I going to flesh him out right now. Story about that. If you haven't seen the interview that I posted with I believe it's KUSI Radio or WKBI Radio, the origin of "There's an Alien in My Toilet," the funny thing happened to me on the way to the Lincoln Tunnel. So we were at a convention in over 10 years ago, about 16 years ago, and this newspaper editor was circling the convention circuit, looking for content for their newspaper, and they wanted a sci-fi based content, property that was funny. And so as I'm driving through the Lincoln Tunnel, it hit me. I'm with a bunch of my buddies, and at that time it was Crazee Comics, which I owned. It was my independent comic book company, and it hit me. I knew exactly what it was, what I needed to do. So we get to IHOP, and I tell the guys, I got it. And he said, "You ready for this? There's an alien in my toilet." But I said it with an accent. And I was like, "There's an alien in my toilet." And they looked at me like I was crazy. And they were ready to go. And so I grabbed a table napkin at IHOP and basically started illustrating what the alien would look like and plotting it out. And the entire story just came to me there. So I fell in love with the idea so much so that I didn't want to give it up. I chose not to give it up or to go with the newspaper syndicate, which was, at that time, I look back now and said maybe I should have at least licensed it, but I didn't. And, so, you live, you learn. But at that time, I thought they just wanted to own it. So I was like, I saw too much potential with Doodie. I just couldn't just give him up. And so immediately started working on the first comic for Disney in my toilet. And if you go to my website, I create stories, you'll see that Doodie became my basically flagship title at conventions, and I couldn't keep it on the table. It was selling pretty well, doing really well, and to a point where it caught the attention of agents and producers in Hollywood. So I got to meet people from Warner Brothers and Disney, but talks fell through, unfortunately. Things changed hands, leaderships changed, directions and image of the organizations have changed. So because of that, Doodie did not get picked up. So I left the game. I left the comic industry. I'm sorry, I need a drink. I left the comic industry for a long time. For about 10 years. I'm going to start thinking over this. What is this? And so what am I using here just to ink over these bad boys? I have Faber Castles, and this is fine. This is good. I'll use this one. And I'm just inking it because I want to be able to see what I'm working on. So basically, right here is he's getting arrested. Now this won't be for several issues, whether or not he gets captured or not. But I haven't illustrated Doodie in a while because I've been working on the script for Forbidden, which has just been completed by the artist. So I actually commissioned an artist to work on Forbidden for me, because that style of art I am not skilled at. My style is very cartoony, I guess, and the style I needed for Forbidden was a lot more fantasy based, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I left the comic book industry for a while, for at least 10 years. And, you know, it did set me back because I'm starting all over again. I'm starting from scratch. And so Doodie was put on pause. I guess a lot of it had to do with, number one, I put so much heart and soul into the character, and I was working so much. I was doing a lot of shows a year. I was doing all the big shows. I was doing Comic-Con, both New York and San Diego. I was doing Baltimore Comic-Con, Emerald City Comic-Con, Wizard Chicago, Pittsburgh Comic-Con. I mean, I was everywhere. And I was a promotional magnet. I was just pitching my product to as many people and organizations as possible. I was sending out my own press kits. So when things didn't pan out, it left a bad taste in my mouth. And, you know, I just didn't, I think my last show was 2009 at the San Diego Comic-Con. It was my best show, actually. I got a lot of press. I was on Fox TV over there. I did well in sales. It's ironic how my best show was my last. And I knew it was going to be my last one. You know, so my mind was already made up. And I just needed to reset. With no plans of ever knowing when I was coming back in. Which was scary at times. Because I love it. And you know, I thought about it for many years. So when the decision came to finally get back in the game, I started with the podcast, Cast to Craze. And we launched that back in September of last year. While I was deciding on which titles I was going to promote, I went from there. And I believe in Doodie so much that I decided to restart the product all over again. So yeah, so that's the story of Doodie and how it came. So it was not like any of the other books that I've created where like CosmicWars I created as a kid, and I had that forever. You know, Doodie just came as an idea because somebody needed a product, and then I just said, all right, let me go and put my thinking cap on and did that, and that's how he was born. So yeah. So, you know, now that I got Cast to Craze launched and it's starting to take off, and you know, our listener base is growing and it's on a whole lot of different platforms, I felt it was fitting to start with Doodie and getting him out there, and getting my artwork out there. So I'm a host of Cast to Craze. I produced the show as well. So that's full-time. It's a weekly show. We have one live show a month, and we have a different episode every week. So now that that's up and running, I said, all right, on my downtime, I need to start getting my art channel back in force. So this is me working out the kinks and hopefully connecting with people and you know, learning from others, sharing ideas. You know how it works. So I just updated certain sections on my website, which is cool. I added a fan page, which has over 200 and something photos from the conventions that I've attended, and all the fans of my books that I've met throughout the years. So it's like a way of me saying thank you to all those who supported me throughout the years. And I also created a fan art section where I have some really talented comic artists that have really honored me with some really amazing renditions of my characters. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I wanted to get show some love and respect to those guys and girls. Daphne Lage, who does Tall Tales, she did an amazing job with Samurai Duty. I thought it was pretty hot, which I ended up using as one of my trading cards. So I have a trading card set for Doodie as well, for Disney in my toilet. Yeah, she did some amazing work on that. I mean, like really, like, it's funny because when you see other people's rendition of your stuff, sometimes it makes you want to work harder. These guys they put in some really fantastic stuff. There's Brian Kong, who's huge in the sketch card world and sports cards world. He's done a lot of cards for, series cards for like an NFL and NBA and Major League Baseball, and he's also done them for Marvel and DC and Star Wars. Fantastic artist. I mean, he's not only a great artist, he's a good friend, and we've traveled to shows together, and the guy was just so disciplined. It's embarrassing sometimes when you're not as disciplined as the guy you're traveling with, but it explains why he's so successful. He'd be awake. So we do shows, which is crazy, and he'd be awake after. So we go to the show. We have to be at the on the floor by 8 o'clock because they open up at 9 or 10 o'clock, whatever, to the public, and we're there. Then we go out to after parties. Then we get back to the hotel around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and then we're sleeping. He's on the floor with the lamp on, doing commission work for the next day because he had clients that made purchases for some commissions. Didn't know how he did it. Barely got any sleep, but the guy was always working. Then I had who else? Oh, so Brian Kahn did a Scarface version of Doodie, which is pretty dope, and you can see it on my website as well. Who else? There was, I'm all over the place here, but there was Hector Rodriguez, who does a book called Hell's Blood. He did a crazy job on Doodie. It was like, and then there was Keith Murphy with CAG, the Comic Artists Guild. He did an amazing piece of Cowboy Doodie. Then David Quiles, he did an amazing piece of Doodie that became actually the look and feel for Poo Poo, which is in Doodie's Adventures, which is the diabolical egomaniac overlord nemesis Poo Poo. And what else? There's just so many talented artists that did some great stuff. So I'm always fascinated and always excited when I see people, number one, like the character, but not only that, but like it so much that they felt that they wanted to actually show some love and share their own version of it with me, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I'll probably go over the whiteout with some sections of this that I see. That's, and over the years, doing the convention circuit, I got to meet a lot of creators. Michael Avon Oming, Angel Medina. I got to meet Michael Turner and have a conversation with him. Rest in peace. If you don't know who that is, the Aspen creator. He was with Image Comics with Top Cow. I think he did Witchblade for them, and then went on his own and created Aspen Comics, and then his flagship title Aspen, which was really hot. His style of art was amazing. Got to get some tips from him. Yeah. Got to meet some celebrities and all that other stuff, but so basically this is the look I'm going for. I will continue fleshing this out, play with it, might use some whiteout, change some things, and go from there. Might not end up being the final piece, but again, I'm just trying to get some ideas for Doodie, and trying to see what look, the brush here, that I want to go with. But you hear the background of my dog trying to get in. But I love your feedback. Any ideas for good cover? Anything you want to see with Doodie? If you've read the book, I'd love to get your feedback. Hit me up on YouTube, on this channel, or on Twitter at Crazee Comics on Twitter. And once we're over, hopefully, with this pandemic that we got going with coronavirus, I'll be able to let everybody know where I'll be as far as shows are concerned. But right now, there's no traveling. I hope you all stay safe, stay well, stay at home, social distancing. Wash your hands. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel. See you soon. And this is I Create.